Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now. All right, Vicente, you're still part of Dominance, right?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay. Did you see that Jorge Masvidal, he signed with Dominance?
No, I didn't see that. No, no, no.
Oh, you,
That's not.
oh, you
No,
didn't?
that's not. Yeah, it's nice.
Are you surprised? Like, I'm surprised, right? Like, I didn't expect that to happen.
I mean, yeah, I definitely know that like Ali and all the guys at Dominance are great, and
Mm.
I don't know, maybe Masvidal. I don't know who he was with before that, but I don't know. Maybe he's looking for some better managers. Eh, Ali's pretty good,
Mhm.
so makes sense.
Yeah. He does have a good track record.
Yeah,
Ali does, you know what I mean, of getting big fights for his fighters.
sure.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Maybe we'll see something crazy being announced eventually, right? He said he's coming back. What do you think of him coming back next year?
I don't know, but coming back from MMA, UFC,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, we got to see if he's in good shape. I would love to have a
Mhm.
fight against him.
Yeah,
you know, so we'll see. We'll see. We'll work that out with
yeah,
Ali.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's interesting him coming back.
yeah.
Nick Diaz. You know, what I mean, let's talk about him. You know, you're rebooked for UFC 310, which is great. You know, what I mean, it's a big pay per view. But 4 months has passed. You know, what I mean, and you waited some time. Did they ever offer you any other names or other dates? You know, for the next fight.
I mean, no, they didn't. They wanted to make this fight. They didn't offer me, and I didn't really put much pressure. I did talk to Ali, and we were like, if it's gonna happen this year, we're gonna wait for it. That was our position, and the UFC was confident that they were gonna make this fight happen, and it's a big fight. I've never really waited too much for fights, but this was a fight that I felt like, hey, I wanted, make it happen. I think it's a big fight. Everybody's gonna want to watch it. I want to, be part of it. I want to go out there and get a big win against a guy like Nick. So yeah, it was worth waiting, and I'm excited that finally we're practically a month out, and yeah, everything's looking good.
Yeah, hopefully there's no like travel issues. You know, what I mean, it's in Las Vegas, so what kind of travel
We
issues
could
could you
drive
have?
over there.
Yeah, yeah. There's no planes, right? Um, yeah, yeah. The whole thing about the travel issues, right? Did you hear anything else after that, or do you believe that that's what was the issue?
I mean, I didn't hear anything else, and that's what I know, so that's what I'm gonna stay with. I understand that, especially like Nick has always been a guy that shows up for fights and goes out there. He even though he doesn't show up for media sometimes and all that, he does show up for the fight, and he's not a guy that's gonna run, from fights. So looking at his track record and understanding that, I think it was a travel issue. I don't know what it was, maybe a passport or something like that, but whatever it is, we're getting it done now, so I'm excited.
Have you seen some of the videos that Diaz has posted in the past couple of months? He looks like he's in way better shape than the Robbie Lawler fight, which a lot of people say he didn't even train for that fight at all. So we can't really put too much stock into it. What do you think of the videos of him in shape, ready for you?
Yeah, I mean, I have definitely seen some videos of him training jujitsu, other things too, like hitting the bag and all that, and he does look in very good shape. It looks like he's taking it seriously, and that gets me, excited. Gets me excited because I know that I'm gonna face, a tough guy. I know that he's not gonna go in there just looking past me. Nobody can get in there against me, looking past me. So I know that he's going to be ready, and that's just makes it more interesting. I want the toughest Nick, and I want to put him out. I want to get a finish, and that's what I'm going for.
Okay. At their peak, in their prime, who was a better fighter, Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz?
For me, Nick. Nick has always been, from the two. I cannot take anything out from Nate. He's a beast, and especially that after that McGregor fight and all those fights he had, that really kind of set him apart in the media and in the fan base and all that. But when we go down to like the accomplishments inside the octagon and the caliber of fighters, Nick has faced, one of the best fighters of all times. He's faced Anderson Silva, GSP, BJ Penn, Carlos Condit, so many tough guys, that he has in Strike Force. He fought a lot of guys and always tough fights, always, fights that are remembered to this day. So for me, he's the guy that really, out of the two, he is the legend. He will always be for me a legend.
For sure. And is this fight gonna be 3 rounds or five?
So this one is gonna be three. We were
Okay.
supposed to fight five in Abu Dhabi, but now it's gonna be a 3 rounder. Yeah.
Okay. Well, was there any particular reason for that? Do you like the 3 rounder better?
Uh I like both. I feel like I love 5 rounders. I just the whole idea of fighting 5 rounds for me is more interesting. But I like 3 rounders. I'm used to it. The pace could be really high. I don't have to worry so much of, okay, I'm gonna study in the first round. Is just go in there and fight. That's what a 3 rounder is for me. So it. I think it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change. I'm just gonna have to start at a really high pace, which I am used to many times doing. But I don't know. I like 5 rounders, and against Nick, I think that would be interesting. But anyway, we're gonna get 3 rounds in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably not three,
It
but
doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, like when you usually fight, it doesn't take you much time to get started. And Nick Diaz, once he gets started, like the pace is pretty crazy. I think that's the most intriguing part of this fight is pace versus pace. Like who's
Yeah.
gonna outpace who and who's gonna land the harder shots, right? Is that where it kind of comes down to? Do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that you know we have similarities when it comes to the approach to fighting. We go in there, we fight, and I have my own style. He has his own style. We're both good strikers with dangerous grappling, and I think that makes it interesting because I don't think any of us is going to be looking to take it to the ground right away because we know that we have good striking. We know that we can put people out. So I feel like that's going to be the majority of the fight, and maybe, if I hurt him, he tries to get me down, I could go for a submission or something like that. But I don't know. I just feel like it's a fight with the ingredients to have a great battle, a great war, and high paced. I feel like it's very similar to that fight against Barberina. Barberina had a high pace, high intensity, a southpaw as well, like Nick, and just that kind of guy that won't, as the fight goes, it looks like his pace just gets, stronger, and he gets more fluid with the combinations. I feel like Nick is the same kind of guy, and that I think we combined over 300 strikes in a 3 round against Barberina. So it's that kind of fight I'm expecting.
When you look at this fight, where do you think a win puts you in the division when you beat Nick Diaz, or do you feel like this fight is more of like a side mission? Like a like a Jorge Masvidal fight, kind of, like that.
I mean, I think it in a way you could put it as a side mission, but that side mission that comes with extra bonuses, especially I think that where I am at my career, I've accomplished a lot. I've already proved what I can do. And right now is about getting back on track and showing that I'm still dangerous and I still can go out there and take out those top fighters. And I think that a fight against a guy like Nick just gets, me back on track, but also brings the spotlight because I'm fighting a guy that everybody wants to see coming back. So I get that, some fans are old school and are fans that always appreciate the tough fighters, but other fans are more casual and they know what's going on at the moment. I've been out for a while. I feel like this kind of sets me back in to that fan that maybe is casual, which many times is the great majority of numbers that are buying the fights. So I think that just refreshes everybody who the silent assassin is, and I can get back to chasing that title. And yeah, that's what this fight is for me.
310, it's like pretty much the best card to be on because, well, the title fight was gonna be on the card. Now
Yeah.
Bilal's out. When you saw that Bilal was pulled for that bone infection, when you saw those pictures and you heard the news, what was your reaction to that?
I mean, it's unfortunate, especially like we never want to see guys having that kind of issue. This kinds of infections are it's tough. Fighting is something that is so tough because we deal with so many things. The sport in itself is about injuring each other, and then we have all these crazy things like when we are in training camp. Our immune system many times is suffering because of the intensity of training, because of weight cutting, and then we get this kind of crazy things that the mats many times are dirty, and things like that can happen. It's and it sucks, because it's not how we want to get out of the fight. So I feel for Bilal, and especially because I think this fight was gonna be amazing. And I train with Shavkat. He's been here, I think, for maybe 2 weeks now, and he was, looking great. Excited for the fight. So it's always unfortunate when you see like a fight like that fall through, but we'll see. Maybe they're gonna get something, for Shavkat. I hope they get something for Shavkat soon, and it's gonna be exciting.
Just you training in the same facility as Shavkat, and then Shavkat just recently did an interview saying like he wants to fight Kamaru Usman, who also has trained at Kill Cliff and does train at Kill Cliff for the interim belt. Should the UFC make an interim belt in your view?
I mean, it's hard, It's hard. I mean, in a way, I want to see the division move. So obviously, I would like that interim title, but I don't know. It's so Belal hasn't been that long, sitting out. I don't think it's justifiable if you go through the like if you're looking at like let's say what makes sense as a sport. But the UFC never makes sense. So who knows? They'll make maybe they'll make it, and it's gonna be fun to see the division moving.
And being on the card, let's say they do make a interim title fight between Shavkat and Usman or whoever it is, and you being on the card, you're in a like an interesting position because if someone falls out like fight week, you're in a position to maybe step in and fight Shavkat or Kamaru. Like, what do you think of that scenario happening?
Man, all I know is I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna make 170, and I'm gonna fight that night. So whatever it is, I'm training for Nick, but hey, you never know. I'll be ready. That's my job. My job is to fight. I'm gonna make weight, and I'll be ready. Whoever steps in there with me Saturday night, I'm gonna go out there to take their head off.
How insane is it that your gym has like the best welter? Like, it's been a while, you know what I mean? Gary was there. He's one of the guys in the mix as well. And like, having the years and years of training with those guys, like you kind of know all of them, right? And you kind of know their styles. So like when you guys step into the cage eventually, it's much more interesting for I think for you guys to see who is the best.
For sure. I mean, we've trained so much, and training is always. I mean, you've trained a lot, so you know how it is. Sparring, no matter how hard you go, it's never like a fight because the fight you have like the crowd, the nerves, all that, and plus you go through the weight cut, weight recovery, all that has an effect on that night. So fighting is always going to be interesting, and when you're fighting somebody that that you've trained with, that you've shared so many trainings together, definitely it must be very very different. I don't think I've ever had a fight like that, but I fought guys. I've had a lot of rematches, and that's similar. When you fight a guy for the second time, you kind of already know how hard the guy hits, kind of like what he does. You recognize some things, so I think it's kind of like that, but different because you have that. You also know him personally, so when you're fighting somebody that you've trained with, you have all that personal side as well.
Do you think Bilal, do you think he could successfully defend the title multiple times, or do you feel like the division is just too talented? There's just too many good guys to where it's gonna be hard to like have like four title defenses, three title defenses.
Man, if I look at it, I think it's hard. I think that the division there's too much talent, and I don't know. I don't know if Belal could defend that many times. But with that said, like he surprised me a lot. He surprised me by beating me. He surprised me by beating a lot of guys, Gilbert and a lot of guys. His whole path to the title for me was really surprising. Even when he had the fight against Leon, if we look at that first fight where it ended in that DQ or whatever, no contest, like that, it didn't look like he was gonna win that fight. And then he came in really dominant and surprising everybody when he got that title. So I don't know. He's a guy that likes to surprise a lot of people. But if I'm gonna like technically analyzing it, I don't think that he's gonna hold the title like Kamaru did. But we'll see.
We will definitely see. A week after you fight, Ian Gary and Joaquin Buckley, two guys you know very well, they'll be the main event for the Tampa card. Who do you think is the favorite in that fight?
Man, it's an interesting fight. I think the favorite Ian is the favorite for me. Like I think he's really technical. I've trained a lot with him. Like great striking skills, great like talent. He's a guy that has a very good cardio. He has a lot to develop still, and he's probably developing that right now. So I would put him as favorite, but I do think that Buckley can go in there and surprise everybody. He's been looking really good. His fight against, he was really intelligent in his last fight. Thompson is not an easy guy to find to fight against, and he was able to really little by little be patient and get that finish at the end, which man, not many guys finish Thompson, so definitely is a dangerous guy. I think Ian and I would put like Ian's last fight for me wasn't his best. Obviously he tried to do something different. He tried to grapple. It's hard whenever a striker tries to grapple. That wears on your cardio. It's just burns off your arms, and then he didn't look that good through that fight. But I'm sure that he learned a lot from that. So I don't know. It's an interesting fight. I'm gonna have Ian as favorite for me.
All right, and back to Killcliff. In the news right now, Ilia Topuria is, he's doing incredible things. Right, he's all over the place. Eddie Alvarez, he did an interview after the last fight where where Ilia beat Max Holloway, and he said that sources told him that when Ilia was at Killcliff, he knocked out three of his training partners and out wrestled the Dagestanis. What can you say about that?
I can say it's probably true. I did move a little bit with him, and I could see like his striking level is very, very high. Like his vision, he can see like he doesn't throw shots like just to throw shots at anywhere. He's a real sniper. He has great footwork, great head movement. Plus, all the guys, I didn't grapple with him, but the guy said that he is a very, very good grappler as well. So, different level and very confident guy, very like chill, but at the same time, he knows what he's doing. He knows his abilities, and he's confident that he could always get the job done. So for me, he's a guy that I see holding the title for a long time.
Yeah, it seems like he's the next generation. Like Max and Volk was the previous generation, is kind of like making a shift. Do you see that?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, just the fact that he went out there and finished Max, I think it's crazy. A guy that had never been knocked down now gets knocked out for the first time. I mean, it's not 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 anybody could do that. Max has fought all kinds of guys. Hard hitters like McGregor and beasts like Jose Aldo, and nobody even sat him down once. And now he gets knocked out by Ilia. So that's tells a lot about Ilia.
Yeah, much respect to him. Last thing, any updates on the racing stuff, like the car stuff? Anything new
Not yet,
with
not
you?
yet. I got new wheels on the Mustang, and
Okay.
little by little, I have a race car in Brazil.
Hmm.
It's I build it. I raced it a few times, but it's there. I plan eventually on bringing it to the U.S. and then I'm gonna be able to, it's it by what I have looked at, it is compliant to many racing categories they have here, so I could actually put it, to race. So we'll see. Working on that little by little.
Nice, nice. Well, before that, December 7th, UFC 310, Las Vegas. Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz is finally going to happen.
Yep.
It's going to be crazy, man.
Let's go. I'm excited, man, and I'm ready to go out there, put on a big show, and get a finish. I miss those
Mhm.
finishes. That's what I'm going for.
Mhm.